Okay.
थोड़ा आगे बैठो।
Sing the Markine Bhagavad. Bhagavad. Markine Bhagavad. Can you sing that song?
No, I don't.
No, simple song. You plan it out.
Don't want to sing?
Yes.
But you know, Markine Bhagavad is a song.
Don't know that
Pull it up and you can sing.
Actually, if you want to give the book to them, they can read from it.
Yes, I'll do it.
You can do that. Start giving a copy of the book to everyone.
Can you speak one?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Need some.
Yeah, to connect. It's wireless or wired? What?
On the fan.
It's okay. The HDMI cable.
You're sorry. Yeah. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Hare Ram,
Ram Ram,
Ram Ram,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Thank you, Prabhuji and Mataji, for coming on a weekday morning. Against all the odds, you all have come. Like previously we were saying, like when Krishna is playing the flute, gopis forget everything and they run to Krishna. Similarly, you have run to Bhakti Center today, keeping aside all your responsibilities in the morning. Really, everybody has a story to say of the sacrifices you made today morning to make it happen. But it's really worth it. It's a fortune that Krishna has allowed us to hear this and Prabhuji is here. Among us, let us welcome His Grace Chaitanya Charan Prabhu with three loud and enthusiastic.
Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol.
There are many others who are on the way. I have to tell them to come slow because they want to make it on time. But let us spend the next 4 sessions in the morning. It's a 4-session series. Today is the first session. So let's try to make sure we don't miss any of them. Hare Krishna. So are you planning to sing this? You all can purchase this book as well and get it signed by Prabhuji, but for now you all have it to read the prayers. Please take it.
So, like we were doing the Gopi Geet, we'll recite the stanzas and we'll discuss based on that. So, one stanza at a time.
Guru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamira Prati Guru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamira Prati Kinagiya Nileheta Guru Begati Kinagiya Nileheta
Sing two more times.
Guru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamira Prati Guru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamira Prati Kinagiya Nileheta Guru Begati Guru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamira Prati
Guru Kripa Koile Krishna Adhamira Prati
Kinagiya Nileheta Guru Begati
Kinagiya Nileheta Guru Begati Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Hare. My dear Lord, please grant us all glimpses into the hearts of your pure devotees and let us be inspired by the ocean, endless love that resides there. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for coming today. So, we are going to discuss the mood of sharing Krishna Bhakti and the mood of facing very difficult challenges in our service in our life based on Prabhupada's prayers. So, in this book I have basically taken the prayers of the Markine Bhagavad Dharma, which Prabhupada composed when he was on the coast to America, when he was going towards America and he was nearing the American coastline. At that time he wrote these prayers. So let's get a sense of the prayers. I have taken each of these verses and translated them into English poetry. So I request, do we have a second mic? Yeah. We'll request different participants to, we can pass on, we can read one. It's a poetry. So we can just repeat after me. I recited this one now. Boro Kripa Kaile Krishna Adhamera Prati. Adhamera Prati. So I'll just read the translation. I try to do it in poetic format. Such immense mercy have you shown, O Krishna, upon this soul fallen and forlorn. Ki lagiya anile heta koro e begati. Okay, I'll do it this way. I'll just read the poetic translation so that we get a sense of what is going on. Because Bengali and this will get confused. So, such immense mercy have you shown, O Krishna, upon this soul fallen and forlorn. Why have you brought me to this place? Now do with me as suits your grace. You must have some purpose, I humbly guess, some hidden aim in this wilderness. Why else would you bring me to such a terrible place, so lost in illusion, so void of grace? By Rajas and Tamas in formidable might, all here are covered in illusion's night. For Vasudev's glories they have no attraction, in the divine they find no satisfaction. With your mercy, choose, O Lord, to bless. Your mercy makes everything possible. You are incredible, unstoppable, magical. How will they come to understand the taste of your love, so deep, so grand? Grant this mercy on me, O Lord omnipotent. Take charge of me and make my words potent. It is, O Lord, by your arrangement that all fall to illusion's enticement. It is, O Lord, by your benediction that all may break free from illusion. When your will manifests as grace, they will break free from Maya's embrace. Then they will understand for sure, O Lord, your message so pure. The Bhagavatam's message is your descent. Through it, your mercy is lovingly sent. If they hear your message again and again, they will rise above illusion and pain. From passion and darkness, they will depart and find true peace in a purified heart. Their misconceptions will depart when your message enters their heart. How will they grasp your message so lofty? For that, O Lord, I seek your mercy. Lowly am I, so small and so small. I have no strength, O Lord, none at all. Yet still you have brought me here to speak your message, O Lord most dear. Whatever your will, O Lord, may it be. Please do it now. Let it flow through me. O spiritual master of all the worlds, please become the master of my words. You have the power unsurpassable to make my words understandable. Your mercy alone can, O Lord, ensure that my words become potent and pure. Hearing your message will drive away their lamentation. From all distress they will gain liberation. If you have brought me here to make me dance, I am ready, O Lord, awaiting your glance. O my Lord, just make me dance, as is your will, make me dance. As a puppet moves by the master's hand, make me dance, O Lord, as you have planned. Devotion and knowledge I do not possess, just faith in your name and its power to bless. Now make the name Bhakti Vedanta shine, fulfilling its purpose by your will divine. So, when I was doing these poetic translations, what struck me about it is that, that often the verses we can understand, something and understand the Bengali. In many ways, the Bengali is easier to understand than the Sanskrit in some ways, but still, when we put it in accessible language, one of the characteristics of poetry is that it takes the heart the maximum distance with the minimum words. That is what good poetry is supposed to do. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we would like to travel the distance that Prabhupada's heart has traveled through this series. So I'll be taking this in 4 parts, and we may not be able to go over all the verses, but I'll be broadly talking about how these 4 broad themes, that above us is Krishna. So Krishna consciousness is, okay, maybe one of the lights can be turned off, or it's visible to everyone? It's visible. Okay. So Krishna consciousness is, of course, being conscious of Krishna. But it is that our vision of Krishna becomes infused, or it changes our vision of everything. So I'll be talking about broadly 4 things. The world. That's what I'll talk today. How Krishna consciousness changes our vision of the world. How we can have a more informed vision of the world. Then second is, there are people in the world. So the world as a philosophical principle, the world as a lived reality, what it means. How Krishna consciousness can change our vision of the people in the world. Then the third is how Krishna consciousness changes our vision. We are also in the world in one sense, that if you put it this way, we are also in the world. So how Krishna consciousness, what we are doing in the world, that's our path, our purpose, our mission, how Krishna consciousness changes the vision of that. And then lastly, how Krishna consciousness changes our vision of ourselves. So all of these are related, and it's not that one session will be devoted only to one thing, because this is an organic song and different themes are coming up over here. But broadly, how we look at the world, how we look at people in the world, how we look at what we are doing, and how we look at ourselves. These 4 things we'll discuss, and we'll discuss this broadly in the context of sharing Krishna Bhakti with others, because that is the mission that Srila Prabhupada has. And in this mission that Srila Prabhupada has, he is going to face many different challenges. And now the specifics of his situation and our situation are quite different, but still the principles of bhakti apply. So broadly, how Krishna consciousness changes our vision of things. That's what we're going to discuss. So let's look at this particular. We discussed the first 2 lines. So ki lagiya nile hetha koro ebe gati. So Srila Prabhupada is saying here that, my dear Lord, you have showed great mercy on me, you have brought me here now. So now whatever you like, you can do with me. So why have you brought me to this place? Now do with me as suits your grace. So would someone like to read this? Let's read this together. The first prayer we will read together is the summary affirmation. You can repeat after me if you like. My dear Lord, let me behold you above and the path to you below. Would different devotees like to read one paragraph?
My dear Lord, please bless me to entrust myself into your hands. Just as Srila Prabhupada did when he arrived in America, uncertain of what exactly he would do, but certain that you were guiding him. Grant me the conviction that you are always orchestrating my circumstances from above and guiding my steps on the path below.
Yes. That orchestrating our circumstances from guiding our path, steps on the world path below. So broadly, when we practice Krishna consciousness, so in general, in each of these things, I'm going to talk about a positive and a negative vision of each of these things, and how both of them have their value, and then we'll try to arrive at a balance in it. Now, the world can be seen negatively. The world can be seen positively. So broadly, the negative vision of the world is that, what do you think are verses or points which give us a negative vision of the world? Dukha ilaiva shashvatam. That it is a place of distress. Then it is a place that is temporary. Anything else? Yeah, there are different kinds of distress. We can say there are the 4 kinds of distress, then there are threefold miseries. There are different kinds of distress. Sorry? Another thing about the world which makes it negative?
Illusion.
Yes, illusion. It is the abode of Maya. There is illusion in this world. So, broadly speaking, these are various negative features about the world. Now, are there any scriptural descriptions which are positive about the world?
Can go to Goloka from.
Yes, so it is our pathway to the spiritual world, to Krishna. That this is the world we live in, and through the world we go to Krishna. Anything else?
It's a correction center.
It's a correction center. So is that positive or negative?
You're getting cured.
Karma bhumi.
Karma bhumi. So let's put it this way, that our choices, this is a place our choices matter. That we are going through distress in life, but while we are going through distress, the choices we make matter over it. It's karma bhumi, means our actions have results. Anything else?
We can execute free will.
So we can, choices matter is that it's free will is there. So you're talking more about
What we can do.
what we can do in the world, which is fair enough, important. But are there anything else which is a feature of the world?
All our desires are fulfilled.
All our desires are fulfilled here.
I
Yeah.
don't know how to put a negative or positive.
Okay. Yeah, it's a place for us to fulfill our desires. Okay, and let me give some direction for what I'm trying to ask over here. Maybe it's, see, there is now distress. The world is distressful. It's temporary. It's illusion. Because see, all this affects us, but these are features of the world, isn't it? We're talking more about what are the features of the world, and then we can talk about how it affects us. Say, like if you come back from, say if you're living in Seattle and you come back to Hyderabad. Seattle in America is very cold. Hyderabad is relatively warmer. So now I feel more comfortable here, I feel less comfortable here. So how I feel and how the places, they two are related, but they're not exactly the same. So I'm focusing right now on how the world is. And then we can see how it affects us. So the positive aspect of it is, for example, it is pervaded by Krishna.
It's a replica of the spiritual world.
Okay, it's a replica. We'll just come to that. Let me explain. Pervaded by Krishna means yatah pravrittir bhutana yena sarvam idam tatam. Krishna is present in this world also. That it is pervaded by Krishna. Then, so in that sense, there's a positive about the world that Krishna is here also. Yes, Krishna is there, but Krishna is also here. Then it is, we could say, a replica of the spiritual world. A replica would be a bit of an overstatement, and you can say it's a reflection of the spiritual world. So when you say replica, it's almost like the exact same thing is over here. So we could say it's more of,
It looks like that, but
Yeah.
there's no consciousness in things here.
yeah. So there is a difference, but it's still reflection. So now reflection could convey that there is a certain level of falsity to it. But reflection also means that there is a reality and is a pointing to the reality. Now, another positive aspect of this world is that it is filled with the vibhutis of Krishna. That Krishna says in the whole chapter of Vibhuti Yoga that all the attractive things in this world are pointers to him. They are arranged by him. It is he who is manifesting those things. So the world is the place filled with vibhutis of Krishna. Now, another thing is that we may say this world it is a place of distress, but is it a condemned place? No, it is not a condemned place because Krishna comes here again and again. So it is a place which at least it is cared for by Krishna. If it is cared for by Krishna, that's why he comes here. And Sambhavami Yuge Yuge. So now there is now when I use the word negative vision, it is more about something which is meant to make us cautious. That this is, be careful in this world. But at the same time, if we are only always cautious, there's a very thin line between being cautious and becoming fearful. So we don't want to live in constant fear. So there is, one side is being cautious about the world, but if we understand that this world is also filled with the vibhuti of Krishna, this world is cared for Krishna, this world is pervaded by Krishna, this world is ultimately controlled by Krishna, it is moving as per his plan. It is controlled, maybe not immediately because we have free will, is controlled by Krishna. So then this is what makes us curious about the world. Not curious specifically about what is happening in the world, which politician did what and which sports event who won, not necessarily that level. But we see that Krishna's plan is unfolding in this world also. So we are curious because we can see in this world opportunities to serve Krishna. So to summarize this in one image, if we consider this is the world. So some of this will be a little philosophical, but I'll try to make the concepts as easy as possible. Let's say that we rarely see things as they are. In our vision, there is always the objective combined with the subjective. So what does it mean? If this is the object, now when I look at the object, through my vision itself comes a conception around it. So it's a story I tell myself about that object. It's a frame that I put that object in. So for example, now if you look at me, now you see me possibly as a brahmachari, as a speaker, as an author. Now I see you, I can see you as a software engineer, I can see you as a preacher, I can see you as a grihastha, I can see you as an Indian. Now we all, when we observe something, we put it in a particular frame to make sense of it. Now if you are in America and then you meet some people over there, the first thing you'll say, okay, is this an Indian or non-Indian? Maybe because that will determine which language you talk in, how you talk with them. So there is always a frame that we put around it. So now if we consider, so this object, this is the object, but the frame we put around it is subjective. So now basically around the world, we can put two broad frames. If the word object is the world, that this is Maya's territory, or this is Krishna's territory. Now both are true. This is Maya's territory and this is also Krishna's territory. Now seeing it as Maya's territory will make us cautious. Seeing it as Krishna's territory can make us curious. We want to understand Krishna. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now the Vedanta Sutra is saying this Brahma Jigyasa has to be done in this world. It is not that we go to some other world and do Brahma Jigyasa. While we are in this world, while we are navigating through this world, we do Brahma Jigyasa. So this idea that the world can be both seen positively and negatively. And depending on which direction we go, whether we'll focus on the positive or the negative. So if there's too much of the negative focus, there's a problem. The negative focus too much, we can be cautious, but going too far, we will become very fearful. We will become very pessimistic. On the other hand, the positive focus will be curious. But from the curious, we can even become careless. This world is a place of, on one side, it's a place of vibhuti. It is where Krishna's opulence is manifesting. But it's also a place of vishaya. It is a place of sense objects. So, which is the one we focus on? Both are truths, and depending on Deshakala Patra, time, place, and candidate, we need to decide which vision of the world I focus on. So, when Prabhupada is in this world, now how is he seeing it? Later on, there will be a verse which says, Tomara ichhaya sabha hoye maya vash. Tomara ichhaya nasha mayara parash. So he's seeing this, that this is the world of Maya, but he's also always aware that this is the world of Krishna who is above Maya. So now, if we consider this is the world of Maya, and this is the world of Krishna. So how do we reconcile both of these together? That is what we would like to do. That means how we would like to be. We would like to be both cautious and we would like to be curious. That we want to have caution coming from here, curiosity coming from here. We want to look at the world from that perspective. So when Srila Prabhupada is looking at the world, he is saying that he's saying Krishna koro ebe gati. That ki lagiya anilehe tha koro ebe gati. You must have some, for what purpose you have brought me here. Why have you brought me here? Now, whatever you want, you do with me. In the next verse, Prabhupada will say that you must have some purpose. Otherwise, why would you bring me to this terrible place? Why would you bring me to this terrible place? So that is Prabhupada is talking about America as a godless place, and he's saying it's terrible. So if we consider this dual vision, this world is a place of Maya, and this is the world is a place of Krishna. So accordingly, Krishna consciousness will have two distinct components to it. Who would like to read the next paragraph? So we could say that with respect to the fact that Krishna is our protector, Krishna is our Lord, we will have confidence. But this world is also a place of Maya. How Maya is going to act in the world, we don't know. So that's why there is some uncertainty. Go ahead. Who would like to read this?
O Omnipresent Lord, let my consciousness of you become an empowering blend of practical consciousness and transcendental consciousness. Practical consciousness will keep me aware of my immediate situation, with challenges and opportunities. Transcendental consciousness will keep me aware that you are always in charge. I will always, if we have only the practical consciousness without transcendental consciousness, I will be consumed by anxiety and paralyzed by panic. If I have neither practical nor transcendental consciousness, I will be lost in my head, unable to do anything worthwhile. If I have only transcendental consciousness without practical consciousness, I will become unrealistic, over-dependent on your intervention without doing my part.
Yes. So here, this is a 4-quadrant diagram. As you may guess, our Krishna consciousness has both these aspects, this practical consciousness and transcendental consciousness. So, practical consciousness means we look at the world as the abode of Maya. That means it works according to certain principles. It works according to certain rules. And then there is transcendental consciousness. So practical consciousness, we could have yes or not, positive, negative. Could say yes or no. And transcendental consciousness, yes or no. So broadly speaking, if we consider Maham Anusmara Yuddhacha. So Maham Anusmara is transcendental consciousness. Yuddhacha is practical consciousness. You remember me and then you fight. So in terms of the three modes, we could say that if we have neither that will be tamas. Hmm? So what happens is somebody is in tamoguna, there's no question of them remembering God. Forget the idea of God. They're not even conscious of the world around them. Person is drunk, is dry, maybe is walking, they stumble and fall, they don't even notice what is in front of them. But the tamoguna, there's neither practical consciousness nor transcendental consciousness. Now, this is where there can be fear, there can be lethargy, apathy. Practical consciousness without transcendental consciousness, that is rajas. Rajoguna is where I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that, I have to do that. And if I don't do things, everything will fall apart. So, we are aware of what we are meant to do, but we are not aware of any higher principle. Now, sattva is where we have practical consciousness and transcendental consciousness. We see that avibhaktam cha bhut, no, what is that? 18.20 Krishna says that tadjnanam vidhi satvikam. He says sarva bhuteshu yenaikam bhavam avyayam ikshate. Avibhaktam vibhakteshu tadjnanam vidhi satvikam. He says that there is one imperishable spirit who is guiding all living beings. But then every living being is different. This is sattva. That there is transcendental consciousness and there is practical consciousness. Now, if there is only transcendental consciousness without practical consciousness, this is, you can call it Shuddha Sattva, but this is the level of a person who is such an exalted Uttamadhikari that they can't differentiate, or they don't differentiate between devotees and non-devotees. Then they can't really function in this world. So, this is the level where, at the level of Uttamadhikari, somebody is there where there's no differentiation. And then it's almost like at that level the person is like a child, which is sweet in the innocence. But then a child is also gullible. A child isn't, so Prabhupada says that Uttamadhikari has to come down to the Madhyamadhikari level, by which we can practice bhakti. So with respect to this, when Prabhupada has come to America, now we will see that Prabhupada makes both kinds of statements. He says that when he came to America, now Abhay Charan was a TV series that was made. Now there are many devotees who are using animations and other things to try to replicate or try to recreate. So now if we consider when Srila Prabhupada came to America, this is, let's try to get the context of this prayer. Prabhupada has come alone to America. He has been alone for quite some time. He left his family almost 10, 12 years ago. Since then, wherever he has gone, he has been going alone. And yet, there are different kinds of aloneness. When Prabhupada, even when alone, has always been with people who are at least sympathetic to and respectful to his mission. Now, he was in Vrindavan filled with devotees. He would go to other places, there would be people who would be supporting him, who would invite him, who would host him, who would respect him as a sadhu. Now, Prabhupada is on this ship Jaladuta. The people on the ship, at least the captain is a pious person, and the crew members, they're busy in their own work. But when Prabhupada had Janmashtami over there, he distributed prasad, he did some kirtan, they also participated a little bit. But now, Prabhupada is going to step out into a world where there's a different kind of aloneness. That is, he's going to go to a place where nobody understands his values, his purposes. Prabhupada has never been outside India till now. What to speak of going to a country as culturally different as America. And not only is he going to America, he is also, there's one level of aloneness. That is, you are not with people who care for you, people who like you, people who share your values. But beyond that, when Prabhupada has come to America, there's no Wikipedia at that time, there is no chat GPT. Now, Prabhupada has not really studied much about America. India was at that time more or less under socialist influence. And because of that, it was India linked much more with Soviet Russia. And India had heard about America. Somehow Soviet Russia never became the stuff of the dreams of Indians. Hardly any Indians dreamt, oh, we want to immigrate to Moscow, we want to immigrate to Russia. It's few, but not much. So there was a particular conception of America. But that conception, okay, there's progress, but there is materialism, there is sensuality, there is Hollywood. So now, when Prabhupada is here, there is a timeless principles about which he has complete confidence. Krishna is in charge and Krishna will take care of things. But in terms of the particular situation he is going to face, there is naturally a lot of uncertainty he has had. If you look at that particular ship, no, it was a cargo ship, not even certainly not a cruise ship. There are no comforts over there. There is no medical support over there. So he had a heart attack, 2 heart attacks, and he got no assistance in taking care of it. It was just natural recovery that happened. So with that background, generally, when we are at a particular place, there is what puts us in that place is the past and the future. The present is constantly at the intersection between the past and the future. Now we can say the past no longer exists, the future will come into existence. So the present is only what is real. And there is truth to that. But if we look at it from a Krishna conscious perspective, if we see Krishna, it is many times in the Bhagavad he says Krishna is the Lord of the past, the present and the future. Now if we look at Srila Prabhupada from the perspective of the past and look at it from the perspective of the future. Now his future is certainly uncertain. So he doesn't know what is going to happen. Ache kichu karjatabe ei anuman. That I guess you must have some plan over here. Now if you look at Srila Prabhupada's life, there are different people who are of different natures. See, some people like structure in their life more. Some people like more, you could say, more of an unstructured life. So structure means I wake up at this time, I do this activity, then I go this, I go here, I go there. Now some people, once the structure comes in their life, then they can do so many things. And then for them, if the structure is not there, they feel very disoriented. If somebody, it's possible that we have structure in their life, and it's good, having structure is good. But we can get attached to the structure, and then the structure gets disrupted, it becomes very annoying, it's very disturbing. Some people, they can't sleep well except they sleep in their own bed. They have to sleep at a particular time. They can't, then they don't. Then they get disrupted. Now for structured people to be in a completely uncertain, unpredictable situation, that becomes very difficult. People who don't mind being unstructured, and for them it's more like adventure. Let's see what's going to happen. So Prabhupada has always had a very structured life. And to some extent, Prabhupada maintained his structure in America also. Waking up, cooking his own food, doing his sadhana, doing his seva. But then he's going into an environment which is completely different. And Prabhupada said, I don't know, as I said, whether I should turn left or right when he landed in America. So that was not just the physical, but it was also metaphysical. What exactly? So the world as the domain of Maya. Now Prabhupada is in Krishna consciousness, but still he is also in the domain of Maya. So because we consider both these worlds, so we'll see Prabhupada's prayers in these 2 lines, that if we consider that the world as the domain of Maya, Prabhupada is saying uncertain. This is a Ugrasthan. This is a terrible place. This is what is going to happen. The world as a domain of Maya. And then, if we see the world as Krishna's domain, with respect to that, Krishna, you have a plan. With respect to this, there is certainty. With respect to this, there is confidence. So, in one sense, the whole prayer is basically a to and fro, back and forth between Krishna consciousness, in terms of remembering Krishna transcendental consciousness, and being aware that this is the domain of Maya. And there is practical consciousness. So transcendental consciousness and practical consciousness. Now if we consider these four quadrants, if we have all of these consciousness, that is the best, both practical and transcendental. Now if you have transcendental but no practical consciousness, then what will happen is we may be pure, but will be pure and ineffective. We won't be able to do much in the world because we're not able to see what is going on in the world. We cannot able to differentiate. So Prabhupada, he will be very faithful to Krishna and aware that this is Krishna's domain, but Prabhupada has to make many practical decisions. Should I stay here? How long should I stay in this person? Should I renew my visa? Should I go and meet this person or that person? Should I spend time with this person or that person? So practical consciousness is something which all of us need to have. Can you read the last paragraph over here?
Bless me, O Almighty Lord, to cultivate both. Let transcendental consciousness keep me faithful and calm, and let practical consciousness keep me resourceful and alert. Thus, like Srila Prabhupada, may my head remain in the sky while my feet stay firmly on the ground as I walk the path of your service.
Yes. So we need to be alert and resourceful, at the same time calm and faithful. So I'll make one last point, and then this last point will take 2 hours. But this is an important point. So see, as I said, when we look at things, we bring a particular story to it. We bring a subjective imagery to it. So for all of us, with respect to the world, we can have different metaphors about the nature of the world. So how can we have practical consciousness and transcendental consciousness both together? And practical consciousness means my actions matter. I have to be careful. I have to make good choices. But transcendental consciousness is that Krishna is there and Krishna cares for me and Krishna is with me. So if we consider the nature of the world, if we consider various metaphors about the nature of the world, if you want to understand the world, what are the common metaphors that we use? Yeah, that's a phrase. So it's like a correction center. A correction center. So correction center would mean, we'll come to that. So correction center is, it's a jail, it's a prison. Okay. Correction center can be jail, rehab center.
We call it hospital.
Okay, let's move one. So let's take correction center. You can say, if we call it a jail or a prison. Now, if you see each of these, they imply something. If you are in the jail, what are you supposed to do? The word correction center means, it requires change of behavior. And whose focus is it on changing the behavior? It's our focus. So if you see, this metaphor does not bring Krishna and Krishna's love directly into it. That, who is Krishna? Krishna is the king of the kingdom. And we are in the jail. The jail is arranged by Krishna. But then we are all alone in the jail to make our way out of the jail. It's a valid metaphor, but it does not bring the bhakti element, the element of Krishna's compassion so much into it. The Gita in the 15th chapter also uses one more metaphor. What is it? Some of you mentioned earlier. What is the first verse of 15th chapter? Urdhva Moolam Adhar Shakam. So what does it refer to? Unverted tree is like it's like a reflection. So we can say it's a reflection, illusion, upside down tree. So where, if we consider something as a reflection, there what we need is, if something is a reflection, illusion, we need intellectual development. We need to become more intelligent. Don't be such a fool. There are many things. We could have the example also for, say, a mirage. If there is a mirage, then what is happening is you are seeing it wrong. So here the focus is on changing our behavior. If you say intellectual development, here it is on changing how we see things. What we see needs to be changed, or what we need to, or how we act needs to be changed. Any other metaphors? University. Yes, if you consider the world to be like a university. Now what does a university mean? What is the focus we have to do over here? Learning. You have to study and learn. So now here, in one sense, if you consider, the teacher's role comes in a little bit more. The teacher is there to help us learn. The teacher is also going to test us. But the teacher, so the university university metaphor brings more of the role of Krishna into it. It gives more of a place for Krishna. And now in this matter also, what is it? See, one of the biggest problems that we face in the world is that we can say this world is like a prison. But each of these metaphors falls short in different ways. If we see a prison, say somebody is alcoholic and they are put in the prison because they drank and drove. Now, and they hurt someone. Now, in the prison, nobody is tempting them to drink alcohol more. Isn't it? In the world, the very things that we got us into trouble, we are being impelled to do them. And that the metaphor doesn't explain. If you consider this world as a place of illusion. So, something which is a jail is actually not a place of temptation. The jail is fully arranged so that it is a place of undisguised misery. And then we can get out of it. That's the nature, not the nature of the world. So all metaphors that we have, they are like rubber bands which we use to hold on to the object. But the object is slightly different. So now if we look at Srila Prabhupada's life, as I said, we look at the past, we look at the future. I'll come back to this point. One last metaphor we can consider is a metaphor of a hospital. Now in hospital what happens is, it is for us to be treated. Now in one sense, which metaphor among the university and the hospital, both of these, the in charge, the doctor say here is in our favor. But which is in one sense more passive and more active? Are we more active in a university or more active in a hospital?
We are passive, but doctor is active.
Yeah. So in a hospital, it's more that we just have to take the treatment. In the university, it's that we have to do most of the work. The teacher may come and give a class for 1 hour. What the teacher said, we have to study for 10 hours to understand. Isn't it? To understand, to remember. But in both of these, the idea of this human divine partnership, both of this is there. So if you consider the human divine partnership, both of these are seen over here. So now I'm talking about, so Prabhupada from his past and his future. So his future is quite uncertain for him. And from that uncertain future, Prabhupada is looking ahead, and he is looking at the past and looking ahead. And he's trying to decide what he will be doing now. So we want to have a similar situation in our lives, where for us there's not so much uncertainty in our future. Of course, everybody's future is uncertain, but it's not that we are going to a completely different place all alone. But at this point, Prabhupada will meet different people. He'll talk with different people. As devotees, Sometimes what happens if you go back over here? Sometimes we are only transcendently conscious and not practically conscious. And you think that is Krishna consciousness. No, that is not Krishna consciousness necessarily. I suppose we go to a doctor. Say we have some heart problem. Maybe we got a heart attack and we go to a heart doctor. And that heart doctor happens to be a devotee. So then that devotee doctor assures us, when I want to do your heart surgery, I'll be chanting Hare Krishna. Say, that's nice, but will you do the surgery properly? Says, that I can't guarantee, but I'll guarantee I'll chant Hare Krishna. He may say, I want to go back to Krishna, but not so soon. Isn't it? In the world, the practical consciousness is also important. If we do not have practical consciousness, then what will happen is we will get ourselves into unnecessary trouble. So for us, when we do practical consciousness, it's not just, oh, this world is a trouble someplace and I have to deal with all the troubles of the world. It is that actually Krishna is giving me an opportunity to serve him over here. So the world gives us certain facilities, Krishna has given us certain abilities. And for a devotee, how does Krishna want me to serve you? How does Krishna want us to serve him? The curiosity, there's curiosity, there are some curiosity channels, there's Discovery Channel, there's this thing. Okay, how does this happen? How does that happen? But for a devotee, curiosity has two main dimensions. That is, what is Krishna doing? What is Krishna doing now? Not just doing in the spiritual world. What is Krishna doing now in my life? In my life, in my heart. And what does Krishna want me to do? So what is Krishna doing? That is in terms of the Jnanendriyas. That's we try to observe the world and perceive. What is Krishna doing over here? What does Krishna want me to do? That's in terms of the Karmendriyas. So we will see that when Prabhupada comes to America, it's interesting that as the devotees when Satsarup Maharaj wrote Leela Amrit. So at that time when I had met him in near New York upstate, so I asked him, Leela Amrit is among my favorite books. I read it many times. So I asked him that what was the biggest challenge for him in writing the Leela Amrit. So he told me that the biggest challenge was to find people in America and to find reliable people in India. Which is an interesting description. What he meant by that was that when Prabhupada was in America in 1965, early days, he met people. But Prabhupada himself was unknown. He was in Butler, then he was in New York. To find people was difficult. Who all met him at that time? They started writing the Leela Amrit in 1975-76. He started collecting data, but mostly he started writing in 78-79. Now he said in India is full with people. Finding people was not difficult. So for example, he told me that he got at least he got 30 people who claimed I was the postman who told Prabhupada write books. So everybody was like, everyone to take credit and pride of position. So finding people was not the problem in India. Finding reliable people was the problem. So there was one, he went to the house of one life member. And the life member said, his life member's house name was Vrindavan. He says, Prabhupada gave this name to my house. And then after that, his son wrote to him, actually, my great grandfather had given this house name Vrindavan. So why does his father have to say that? Maybe just to show that Prabhupada was so close to us. So the idea was to find reliable people was difficult. But either way, there's a different problem. But then what he said is that when he was in America and Prabhupada was going along meeting different people. So at that time, there were two incidents that I'd like to focus on, which illustrates that how this practical consciousness and transcendental consciousness, sometimes they can come in conflict. Conflict means what happens? Sometimes we start feeling that what is practically happening in life seems to be completely godless or completely opposed to what we would like to do. There's no description of Prabhupada ever facing, at least in the early years, facing like a storm or a natural calamity or some environmental problems. They might have been there, but they did not. There was a power, once there was a big power loss that was mentioned in Lamrit. But when Prabhupada was in Butler, Pennsylvania, so what happened is, this was the first place he was staying, and that very place, Prabhupada has lived very purely throughout his life, and now he was going to cook his own bhoga, make his own food, and still what he found was that there, the fridge in which he was keeping his food, in that fridge itself there was non-vegetarian food. And like among non-vegetarian food also, like if you know a little bit about drugs, there are different drugs and they have different levels of severity. So some drugs, little dosage can drive a person completely. An overdose is very easily possible. A person can die. Some drugs, okay, you take them, they're not that effective. So like from a devotee's perspective, there are different kinds of meat also. But the most unacceptable form of meat for a devotee is beef. It's cow flesh. So now, in that same fridge that was there. So now when Prabhupada was saying this, his transcendental consciousness is that I want to serve Krishna. But the practical consciousness is, this is unacceptable. This I want to serve Krishna, but the situation is unacceptable. So now, what happens is, this for us, we are trying to do something and we face something which is unfavorable in our life. So at that time when we face something unfavorable, we are always trying to see, because Krishna is invisible. As I said, if you are trying to understand what is Krishna doing in my life, what does Krishna want me to do with my life? So we are trying to make sense of things from a Krishna conscious perspective. So at that time, the practical suddenly becomes unfavorable or unacceptable. Then naturally, Prabhupada says, Ugra sthane. For him, this is a terrible place I am in. But Prabhupada's response was quite nonchalant. He just told Sally Agarwal, think nothing about it. Think nothing about it. He did not want to guilt them. He saw that they are not really interested in becoming devotees. So Prabhupada, we think of Prabhupada as a pushy person, as a forceful person. But Prabhupada is also a careful person. Those were his hosts, they are not really his people who are interested in Bhakti. So Prabhupada stayed for some time and moved on. This did not cause us that much of a problem. The second situation which happened, that was much more damaging, and that will lead us to what I'll discuss in tomorrow's session, which is today I was setting a little conceptual ground. But Prabhupada went from Butler, he went to Philadelphia to give some talks, then he came to New York. New York, he was staying at a yoga studio. And each place, it brought some opportunities, but it brought some challenges. So for Prabhupada, there could be many things which could be opposing, which could be discouraging. Generally speaking, for us, the problems, some problems are expected and some problems are unexpected. Which problems are more difficult to deal with? The unexpected problems. So for him, knowing that people eat meat over there, people engage in all kinds of unregulated activities, he knew about that, and that was an expected problem. But then, when Prabhupada from New York came to the Lower East Side, and when he came to first he came to the Bowery, then the Lower East Side. In Bowery, what happened basically? First person who was about to become his disciple, David Allen, he turned and he attacked Prabhupada. He went crazy with anger. Not anger, it was like a drug-induced mania. He himself didn't know what he was doing. And when he attacked Prabhupada, there was nothing that Prabhupada could do. He just had to leave that place. And leave that place at that time, it's not just, okay, he's homeless now. It is that it was the biggest challenge to his mission at that time, because is even the mission possible? His godbrothers had gone to UK and they said that this is not going to work. That's what they told Bhakti Thakur. These people can never become devotees. And that statement had very much displeased Bhakti Thakur. So that statement would have been there. If a person can turn on you and attack you like this, and that is also the first person you invest in, and say somebody goes to a poor locality where there are poor people and you start offering free tuition classes for them. You're going for their benefit. And the first person over there, the first student seems to become serious. That person tries to attack and drop you. Say, why am I here at all? What am I doing over here? So Prabhupada had this positive vision of the world that he's like a teacher in the university, he's like a doctor in the hospital. But are these students ever going to learn? Are these patients ever likely to be cured? Now that was the second session we'll be discussing. For all of us, this positive vision of the world is what we need as devotees. That okay, this is a world of Maya and we want to leave this world, but at the same time, this is also the world of Krishna, and we want to bring people to Krishna. So I'll quickly summarize what I discussed, and we'll continue tomorrow. I discussed 3 main points. The first point I discussed was about how when we look at Prabhupada's prayers, that Prabhupada has now gone to America, and when he is there, we look at the world. That's what we are focusing on. The world can be seen as the domain of Krishna or the domain of Maya. And when we see it as the domain of Maya, that's subjective. You see the domain of Krishna, that's also subjective. The objective reality is the world is what it is. But this will keep us uncertain. This will give us some level of certainty. So we don't want to see it just negative. We don't want to see it only positive. So only negative will make us fearful. Only positive will make us careless. In between is where we can be both cautious and curious. So with this understanding, then I discussed the second point was about practical consciousness and transcendental consciousness. That how we need both in our practice of bhakti. And yes or no. And Prabhupada is going to exhibit this particular level of consciousness. This is the best. And then when we face obstacles, the obstacle is when the practical consciousness is going completely against our transcendental consciousness. Transcendental consciousness, I want to serve Krishna, but the practical situation is saying, this is a terrible place, this is an unacceptable place, I can't function over here. So when that existential tension comes up, what do we do at that time? So we'll continue the discussion tomorrow. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. So as I said, today was a bit more conceptual. I wanted to lay the ground, but from the future sessions, I'll also be drawing some parallels of Srila Prabhupada's life with the Mahabharata, with the Ramayana, with other Bhagavatam characters. So we'll make it more accessible. I don't want to just tell Prabhupada pastimes, although we'll discuss some Prabhupada pastimes. I want to discuss some principles, but how we deal with people, we'll discuss much more other aspects also, other examples from scripture also. Thank you. Yes, Prabhu.
Prabhuji, the aspect of being fearful about uncertainty of the future. It's very famous incident of Srila Prabhupada where he was in Sun's Park in New York. There he was sitting and somebody came and asked, who are you? And he said, I have 108 temples and I have so and so. Then this time is separating. So the confidence of Prabhupada in saying something like this when he did not even have one temple.
That's the aspect of certainty.
Yeah, so how do you define that aspect?
See, there also, Prabhupada said there are temples, so that certain is there. But the Prabhupada did not know how much time is separating us. Is it 6 months? Is it 1 year? Is it 1 month? So, that at a transcendental level that Krishna has a plan. A devotee has confidence. At the same time, practically how that plan is going to unfold. What am I going to do? What is Krishna going to do? That Prabhupada was responding. So we see responding to situations. So we see that Prabhupada started many projects. And some projects he continued, some projects he decided we'll do it later. Some projects he decided to move back from them completely. So the idea is that it's like if you consider the mountain, there's the ocean. So the Ganga is confident that it's going to reach the ocean. That's its purpose. It's fixed in that purpose. But how exactly is it going to reach the ocean? That will vary. Sometimes the Ganga will move up and down and it will reach the ocean. Sometimes you can see the Brahmaputra river, for example, just has a 90-degree turn in its path before it goes to the ocean. So like it goes to the Himalayas and then turns that way. So like that, for us, that reaching Krishna, fulfilling Krishna's mission, that is the confidence. But exactly how we get there, there's going to be a lot of uncertainty about that. So in that sense, the devotee has to accept that when you say padam padam yad vipadam natisham. So vipadam can refer to disaster. It can refer to calamity that can happen at every moment. Now, that is a devotee wants to be aware of the nature of the world. But specifically, how we are going to serve Krishna. Arjuna, after he surrenders to Krishna, Krishna tells him that Bhishmam cha Dronam cha Jayadrathan cha. All of these are Maya hatam swam jahima vyatishta. By my arrangement, they have been killed. But still, Arjuna had to go to the process, through the process. Arjuna had to fight and kill them. And now it's possible that Arjuna was remembering Krishna's words when he showed the universal form, when he was fighting the war. But it is not that that made the effort of the war any less real. There's no description that. Now it's interesting, Krishna mentions Jayadratha when in the 11th chapter. That Bhishmam cha Dronam cha Jayadratham cha. Now Jayadratha is not mentioned by Duryodhana in the first chapter. He doesn't consider Jayadratha to be a very important warrior. Now Krishna mentions Jayadratha, he will be killed. But on the 13th day, when Arjuna is charging towards Jayadratha, and it seemed as if he is not going to reach him, at that time Arjuna doesn't say Krishna, hey Krishna, what about your promise in the Gita should happen? No, Arjuna keeps trying. So exactly how Krishna will manifest his plan. For that, now the word uncertainty might have a negative connotation. But the point is that, as I said, that leads to curiosity. That can lead to insecurity. Oh, I don't know what is going to happen. But I don't know what is going to happen. So let me be curious, let me be open. Let's see how Krishna is going to act in the world. So Prabhupada tried different things. And some things worked, some things didn't work. So Prabhupada started a political party, as we know. The political party didn't work. And it did not, you can say, not that it didn't work, it needed too much work in terms of, especially the financial investment. And Prabhupada said that this devotee Balwant Prabhupada told him that you can become the next president of America. And then he started doing enthusiastically campaigning. He was campaigning for a senator's post. And then after some time he came to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, are you no longer enthusiastic about a political party? Prabhupada called the political party, in God we trust. So he said, I am enthusiastic, just don't ask me for any money. So what happened was, especially in America, but other parts of the world also, America, they have this CPAC, they call it, what is the Political Action Committee. So every candidate is funded by a large number of people. And it's like, they call it the political war chest. Like when you go for a war, the king has to have treasure, like a political war you're going. So Prabhupada saw how much money is required for actually campaigning, for promoting. Prabhupada decided we don't want to spend the Lakshmi that we have, for which we have gone through book distribution or whatever, for in that direction. So the point was exactly how things were going to unfold. There was no certainty about that. Am I answering your question?
Yes.
That's good.
Hare Krishna, Guruji. My question is like, in terms of when we plan or something like that, but when we see in terms of devotion, raganubhav bhakti, love is the highest one. At the time of love, there is no plan.
Really, who said that?
No, in terms of, let's see
The gopis plan
Yes.
what they're going to cook for Krishna.
Yes, but in terms of what I want to say, when you are in love with someone, at that time, if I'm in love with Krishna, I didn't think about future. In terms of practically surrender, in what we say, but at this time we planned and something like that.
Okay. So if we are loving Krishna, we are surrendered to Him, at that time we don't think about the future. Well, that's one way of looking at it. There's some validity to that. We don't worry about the future. That Krishna is in charge of the future, so we don't have to worry about it. That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is that in the future we are meant to serve Krishna. And then what is required for the service of Krishna, we want to make sure that it is there. So for example, when Prabhupada built temples, Prabhupada made a plan of how those temples would continue in the future. So for example, when he built a temple in Vrindavan, he recognized that then not many donations would come because the Vrajavasis are not going to give donations. So Prabhupada had to create a guest house. So by that, people will pay for the guest house, and that's how the temple will get some funds. So I would say that it's not so much that we don't plan because of our dependence on Krishna. It is that we see how I can best serve Krishna. And sometimes we can best serve Krishna by planning. Sometimes we can best serve Krishna by submitting. Krishna, I don't know what is your plan, so I submit to you. It's like I was going to give this example a little later, but let's see. Sometimes we say we don't know Krishna's plan, and that's true. But it's important to understand that our not knowing Krishna's plan is also a part of Krishna's plan. It is by Krishna's plan that we don't know Krishna's plan. What do I mean by that? That now, recently, that last 1-2 years, there's a lot of war in the Middle East. Conflicts has been there. So I have a devotee friend from Israel whose brother works in an Israeli spy agency, Mossad. So when they had attacked Iran, so what happened was they had their spies in Iran, and those agents, they disabled the entire anti-aircraft defense system of Israel. And that's of Iran. That's why when they came over there, they just had the complete control over the skies. But the point was, in this plan, they said that generally those agents who go out there and plan, they know what they are to do. And they are very well trained for doing what they are to do. But none of them knows the full plan. Because if one of them is caught by the enemy will torture them, and then they will take out all the secrets. And then all the agents will be endangered. So that nobody knows the full plan is a part of the plan. So now in our case, there's no torturing to extract secrets. But the principle is that in our case, it is more that Krishna's plan is so big that we can't understand it. So sometimes a particular agent may have a lot of clarity. Okay, we are 100 people going here, I'm going to deal with this, you're going to do this, you're going to deal with this. Sometimes that same agent may be sent on a solitary mission. And then this is what you're supposed to do. What is this part of? No, you don't need to know that. It's like what is it? On a need to know basis. You don't know it. So in our life, it's like that. We are part of a bigger plan, but exactly what that plan is. Sometimes we know more of it, sometimes we may know less of it. So for us, if we know the bigger picture, then we have to play our part in the bigger picture and understand it carefully. But if we don't know the bigger picture, then worrying, is this the plan, that the plan, that the plan? No. If you're not told about it, then just move forward. Do what you can in that situation. So coming back to the specific answer to your question, my point is that we can work both ways in Krishna's service. that we work to serve Krishna by facing our situation. And sometimes there is very little we can control, there is very little that we know, and then we just take one step at a time. But sometimes we need to make plans. So those kings who build big temples for Krishna, they didn't worry so much if in future invaders will come and destroy the temple. But if I start building the temple, how will I have the treasury to build the next part of the temple? What will I be doing? They created it. So this planlessness, is that a sign of surrender? Well, yes, but that is not the only sign of surrender. Because sometimes the surrender may require acting according to a plan, isn't it? So if you are a part of a team and you're told do this, do this, do this, do this, then we have to act according to the plan. Sometimes if we are leading a team, we have to make a plan. But sometimes, okay, this is a situation, deal with it. And planless acceptance of the situation. So I would say that when we say don't make a plan, or as devotees devotees don't make plans, the point is more that we are not so attached to our expectations of how situations should be that we can't see how Krishna is acting in our life. So that is the main problem over there. Okay. Shall we stop here? Okay, one last question. Yes, but last one. Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Prabhu. Srila Prabhupada is in actually Suddha Sattva, is Uttamadhikari. But if you see all the examples, okay, he's very practical and he's very.
So he comes down to Madhyamadhikari. He could not have gone to America if he had been a Kanishta, if he had been a Uttamadhikari at that platform. Prabhupada says also that. And Uttamadhikari cannot preach. For Uttamadhikari, everything is, everybody is in Krishna. So that they are in Maya, for Uttamadhikari, Maya is incidental reality. So even if somebody is dancing to Maya's tunes, Maya is also dancing according to Krishna's tunes. So it's like according to, yes, they will dance according to Maya's tune, and after some time they will, sometime maybe many lifetimes also, then they will come to Krishna. So pure devotee not a pure devotee, Uttamadhikari cannot preach. Uttamadhikari has to come down to the Madhyamadhikari level.
So he has come down and then preach.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, thank you.
So thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki, Shri Krishna Bhagwan ki, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande. So in tomorrow's session, I'll be discussing about how, when we look at people, how we see them positively, negatively and positively, and how we can try to come at a more balanced view. How Prabhupada looked at people, especially when he was in America. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
There is prasadam for everyone. You can either pack it and take, or you can take it here as per convenience. And today evening there is a session in Mahapurushi Nagar. I request Akincha, please, Prabhu or Anand going through to please put the location and details in the groups, RFI and WhatsApp or whatever it means, so that you all can come on time. It's at 6:30 in the evening in Mahapurushi Nagar, where the discussion on Ramayana will continue. So the overall schedule, I'll again put it in the group of all the programs that Prabhuji is going to do while he is here. And Prabhuji's books are here. And Prabhuji is standing there. You can take the books. You can even buy this book that you have in your hands and take Prabhuji's signature if you will. And so better take the books right now as they are here, because they keep going out as the programs continue. So Bhakti.